Told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the...
And it's Rouser Radio out of Lewes, East Sussex, from the White Hart Hotel. Wonderful place to come to first thing in the morning. A beautiful Sally on this morning with a great smile. Steve along with her, another great smile. They just are so welcoming, you have no idea.
You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Fade away. We're back after the holiday yesterday. A nice way of not having to get up at 6 o'clock and sleeping in until 7. Oh my goodness me, what luxury it was. And this morning it's rather pleasant again. It's going to hit about 24 degrees. And there's the scattered cloud and a light breeze. So not an unpleasant day at all. Another day to get out there and enjoy the late summer. Although, as one commentator on television said this morning, oh, excuse me, chew, 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 chew. Autumn is on the way. Indeed, it is just a little chillier. Not the earth isn't holding the heat quite the way that it has. The scorched days are past, I think, unless we get a so-called Indian summer. All in all, we can't be too worried about the weather at the moment. Rather pleasant. Still, well, Friday and Saturday, the forecast is for fairly heavy rain. And we could do with some rain, that's for sure. But then again, we get a bit of sun and we always say then we need rain. And then we get the rain and we say we need sun. We're never satisfied. And the weather is one reflection of that, isn't it? That too much water in Pakistan. Half a third of the country is under water. And really some great hardship stories there. So be careful what we wish for, and don't get too carried away. This is Rouser Radio, and we try to bring you a little bit of a starter before we go to our television service, miradortelevision.com, and on YouTube and Facebook and a whole host of other places. So there you go, and you can get this on Facebook too, I think, if that is if you would want to. We haven't promoted this service very much. In fact, we haven't promoted it at all. Just keeping it in sort of a holding pattern while we get our act together, ready for the autumn. And as far as we're concerned, our autumn starts on September the 1st, which is Thursday, with new programs on television and a little bit of different music for Rouser Radio. So there you are. That's what we're all about. And perhaps what you better do is to go straight to some music. And I love the old Mini Vandals, I really do. So let's go to kind of a party. Feel like a party first thing in the morning. Well, there we go. Did that get you out of bed? Probably didn't. Nonetheless, nonetheless, we have uh, a little bit of a blowout for you before we actually start to plunge you into the misery of the front pages of the newspaper. But what we are going to do is we're going to make ourselves a little coffee first. Steve has brought a nice a small pot of coffee. There we go. We will pouring it. We will lift the cup over to manageable length. And we will take a sip of it in a minute, and that'll get the croak out of our voice, and it'll get us going. I remember once when I was in Kosovo, and we would go to the British camp because we got a nice English breakfast there. If we wanted it, and I can remember a colonel saying to me, "They've offered me this morning decaf, decaf. I need a shot of adrenaline to get me going." And the caffeine was his shot of adrenaline. And it is mine, I think. I don't care for decaf much. I like something that will actually stimulate me. And here we go. Mm. Oh, yes. Stimulation, stimulation, stimulation. Right. Let's take a look at what we've got in terms of the front pages this morning. The Financial Times is the first paper that the experts have taken a look at, and it's basically its main story. It hasn't got a headline as such. Well, it has. It's the hitch delays to the U.S. moonshot. We're full of anticipation that the rocket to actually test circumnavigating the moon has been held up again. There are a few things that have been going wrong with this rocket. But as one of the astronauts was quoted as saying this morning, is look, this is an experimental rocket. It's huge. We've never had anything like this before. And much better that what we do is we keep on finding the bits and pieces that are not working and make them work before we go launch it into space and perhaps lose it, rather than bow to everybody's expectation and say, oh, the rocket has got to go up now, it's got to go up now. And he's absolutely right. So my view and my best wishes are with them as they try to get the thing absolutely spot on and let it go out into space and do the job. Is I know that there are those who say, "Why do you want to go to the moon?" Da, 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 da. The fact of the matter is that man's future, not the future that I will know, not perhaps the future that you will know. But as we explore where we're going on Earth and where we can go to in space, is getting to the moon is quite important because it will be a stopping off point. It'll be a launch point for going to other places. Not least of which is, of course, is Mars, where we think that we'll colonize first. But space exploration is pretty vital, and it takes a back seat from time to time, and then it comes out into the open and into the forefront. And here we are with this giant rocket, ready to see whether we can reach the moon again. And why not? Why not, indeed? Well, but the Financial Times really is Brussels to unveil crisis action in a bid to curb soaring energy costs. So if you think that it's just us suffering from high energy bills, it's all over the Western world. Who knows what it's doing to the economies of the centrally controlled planned economies, as really many ways practiced by Russia and China. What effect it's having there. Right, the FT is reporting that the EU is preparing emergency measures to curb electricity prices. It quotes European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, who says, we need a new market model for electricity that really functions. In other words, and this has been echoed elsewhere over the last few days, is the way that we actually handle our economy is perhaps past its sell-by days. That we've got to look at new things because, for one thing, just raising interest rates isn't capping inflation. We've got to take a careful look at inflation. We haven't had it for almost 2 decades, so it has not been at the forefront of government thinking. Now it's come roaring back, and we do have to start to think about it. And if in fact the old methods have not working, then we've got to start to look at something different. I mean, I'm not for one moment condoning what the Turks have done, but what they've done is they've lowered interest rates, not raised them. What on earth that what effect that will have, I don't know. But I don't think anybody has done that under this sort of pressure. So at least the Turks are experimenting, and we can see what effect it does have. It goes against perceived wisdom, received wisdom, I think they say. But nonetheless, pretty daring stuff to do. And I think that their argument is that it will lower their prices against other prices and that people will go marching in as tourists. Well, God bless them. Let's see whether it works. Mm. But in the environment of a world that is suffering from inflation, is pretty daring policy, I would say. We'll keep an eye on that. Right now, the metro leads with what to me is the most alarming uh, situation of all, and its headline says the last orders for pubs. And the story is it's a warning from brewery bosses that thousands of pubs will shut forever unless the government steps in to help them cope with rocketing fuel bills. Without swift and substantial intervention from government, there is no doubt we will witness a huge number of pubs closing their doors for good. The paper quotes the British Beer and Pub Association in saying this. Anything to do away with the English pub, which has been for almost 4 or 5 centuries, the fabric of our social activity is, to me, to be avoided. And we don't want to see pubs close. Now, in some instances, the publicans aren't doing themselves any favours. They recognise that the money is in food, and so in many instances they've discouraged customers from going in and just standing at the bar and having a pint. That's just plain silly. If you want to be a restaurant, say you're a restaurant, and stop trying to be a pub and leave somebody else who wants to be a pub. Strangely enough, in Lewis, we've got two pubs, estate pubs. You can't get a morsel to eat in there. Well, you can get a little pork pie, I think, and a pickled onion, and a pickled egg. My goodness me, I haven't had a pickled egg in a long time. I must go and have a pickled egg. But it is one of the most successful pubs around. It flourishes. It's not very big, but nonetheless, it is a good model. Almost all the rest have put their faith in food, and they cater to that. And they have indeed lost the people who go and stand at the bar. And it's tragic. But losing them as a result of high energy costs. Now, it's all very well for the breweries to say this, but of course, one of the contentious things is that the breweries have almost priced people out of the market from becoming a landlord of a pub because of the high costs, the high rental costs that they charge, and the closed market, which I've always thought is, it sounds as if it's right on the edge of legality, is you must buy this beer and you must buy that beer and you must buy it at this price. That sounds like cartel to me. And although it's fairly common knowledge and it's discussed openly, nobody ever does anything about it. So it may be that the brewers need looking at and to see whether, in fact, they deal with the landlords of the tenant pubs fairly and decently and indeed legally. So pubs under threat. The Guardian, schools face closure as costs soar. That comes a warning from top Conservatives who've urged the new Prime Minister, whoever that may be, to address rising cost pressures on schools. Head teachers struggle to pay soaring energy and wage bills, The Guardian says. The former Conservative Education Secretary, Kenneth Baker, tells the paper that schools would go into the red without government intervention. So, another victim of rising costs. The Daily Express. Truss tax cut plan, the only way to rescue the economy. The Daily Express leads with a message from a leading economist that the Tory leadership contender Liz Truss must look at bold tax-cutting reforms, which are the best way to save Britain from recession. Now, on the BBC this morning, there was a little strapline that some economists have said that her plans are far too simplistic and that will actually lead to disaster in the British economy. So who do you believe? The fact is, of course, what we do is, and it's true of this program and this radio station, this television station, is that what we do is we allow extreme views because we figure that the consensus will give us some idea of what the situation really is. So, if in fact there are some extreme views here, there are extreme views. But what we do is we listen to both and make up our minds. The I, Truss. Wait until I'm Prime Minister for the cost of living plan. Um, the newspaper says the Prime Minister-elect will not reveal full details of her plan to help solve the cost of living crisis because she says she hasn't got the data and information from the Treasury. The paper says the detailed meetings to help fight soaring energy bills are not taking place because she's not prime minister yet, so she can't demand these data from the Treasury, and the infighting that goes on in government and between departments and so on is absolutely appalling. We don't pay them for that. We don't actually give them the opportunity to lead rather privileged lives for that. What we expect is for them to work in the common good. And working in the common good in this particular instance would be making sure that all data is available to both candidates so that they can actually start, instead of giving us bullshit, they can actually start to look at a cost of living plan that will work. And work is the operative thing. It's easy to strut the stage that they strut at the moment, making all sorts of promises. But if you can't deliver, there is no point. The Times rush to drill for more oil in the North Sea. The Times says that the new PM will have to approve a series of oil and gas drilling licenses in the North Sea in one of her first acts. As part of a long-term plan to secure Britain's energy security. And yet, Stuart Stuart Dolby, our energy correspondent and expert, says that there's no point, there's not enough left to make any difference. So is this another one of those dreams that politicians think up to answer growing criticism of not doing anything? The Daily Telegraph go into the medical area with statins not to blame for aches, it's just age. And the paper says the Daily Telegraph reports that statins don't cause common aches and pains, and those taking them are simply getting older. The paper says that GPs have been advised to offer patients greater reassurance about the drugs which can protect against heart attacks and strokes. Researchers at Oxford said they had definitely debunked the widespread belief that statins are likely to the cause of muscle aches and pains. So there you are. The Daily Mail. Now Meghan drops her truth bombs. Right. Meghan has been at it again. She released one, I don't know, blog or some statement or something of the sort. I'm really getting fed up with her, totally. She knew what she was getting into. She's a very savvy lady. She knew what she was getting into. This is all part of a plan, in my view. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I think that she knew exactly where she wanted to take this. Get inside the firm, get the goods, get out and make a fortune Hollywood style. She thinks Hollywood. That's where she was raised. That's her thinking methods. What she doesn't understand is that whether we like it or not, we are a constitutional monarchy. This is part of our governance, and an important part, and she is having a go at it and undermining it. And I don't care with those great big eyes and those softy come here lips, what she may be trying to do in terms of being appealing, and she is tampering with our constitutional monarchy. And anybody who does that is a danger to the state. So I hope that we don't invite her back. I most sincerely hope that they don't, as a couple, ever take anything part of a responsible role in our governance, because they have proved themselves to be totally irresponsible. And Harry should know better. He should know better. But she's got him feeling sorry for himself, and people say, "Oh, well, he's under mental stress and so on." Well, get a grip, because if you are at the top of the pile in terms of governance, you don't let people know that you are mentally fragile. You get on with it. You hide it. There is work to be done. And these two not only are not doing it, but they're undermining our very way of life. And it's not a bad one. Our form of government is probably the best that anybody can have anywhere in the world. You don't see anybody marching into our palace, do you, with a rifle, waving it and trying to take over? No, you do not. And it's mostly because of the system. The Mail says the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's rift with the royal family is threatened to deepen with another bombshell interview. The paper says that in a 6,400-word magazine article, Meghan made a series of apparent swipes, warning she could say anything now that she has left the firm. No, ma'am. And that's the way you behave in Hollywood. You sign a piece of paper and it's meaningless. Here, if you go into something and you make an agreement, you stick by that agreement. You are a nasty piece of work. I don't like you. I've never liked you much. And then my worst fears have been realised. You are a nasty piece of work. And I'm sorry you've got your clutches into Harry. But then he knows what he's doing as well. No, he doesn't. She wears the pants in the family. He does what she expects him to do and tells him to do, which is pretty sad for a prince of the realm and one of Diana's sons. But that whole scene is just distasteful in the extreme, really distasteful. And the sooner we actually consign it to where it rightly belongs, Hollywood, with all its glitter and with all its meaningless nonsense, with all the ways that it changes history. I cringe whenever I see a Hollywood version of some historical battle that Britain is involved in, because you can always bet that the Brits got it wrong. Never mind the history, the Brits got it wrong. I've forgotten the name of the actor who knows the one that played Braveheart. He's the worst. He seems to have just something about the British and jumps into any movie that it makes a silly twist of history. Well, there we go. The Sun is following on. Royal Rift bombshell. Harry, I lost my dad. They can't even agree with what she meant by that. She's now saying, was she referring to her own father? That Harry is saying, "Oh well, I think that all this nonsense has caused a strain with my dad." Well, I'm not a bit surprised. You attack our way of life, our governments, our structure, of which he will be the head in the not too distant future. No wonder he's not very happy with you, Harry. And Meghan, if you're stoking the fires, go back to Hollywood and stay there. If I was the bloody British government, I'd cancel any visa to let you back into this country. Enemy of the state. Maxwell jail pal is a double murderer. That's the one for the Mirror. Apparently, Ghislaine Maxwell has made great friends with a woman who killed her husband and his mother. And she's an ex-stripper. And she married a millionaire and then killed her husband and his mum and got caught. Mind you, I would say that if you go to prison, anywhere in the world for that matter, is you don't really have a lot of choice about the people that you actually mix with. The Daily Star, I just love my Daily Star. What are they saying this morning? Fangs can only get better. Watch out for poisonous spiders and snakes. It says the poisonous false widow spiders are invading homes and snakes are on the loose after being dumped as expensive pets in the cost of living crisis. So we've got snakes and spiders crawling all over the country. So watch out. Look into the sheets before you jump into bed tonight, just in case there's a snake lurking there or a poisonous spider. Oh dear, 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 dear. Because what's going to happen now is I'm going to laugh at this story, and then it'll happen to me tonight. Well, there we are. That's what the papers are saying. Let me tell you again that it's going to be 24 degrees today. Um, Sunny spells and a moderate breeze. So not unpleasant outside. And if I'm looking out now, I don't know. I think we're not having one of our sunny spells, but it's not looking unpleasant. And certainly the temperature is okay. It is now 3 minutes past 8 on the 30th of August, 2022. It's the 30th all day today, right up until midnight tonight. And then it turns into the 31st because 30 days has September, etc., etc. And August is one of them with 31. So we've still got a day of August left tomorrow. And it's because it is now 3 minutes past 8. Let's go and play a bit of this one, Zula. I don't know that we've played very often. Let's see what it's about. Zula from the Mini Vandals. You know, we were just talking about Megan and me telling her to get lost. It's funny how when you become famous is that everything is laid bare at your feet. You are responsible for everything. Now, for a whole host of reasons, which I won't bore you with at the moment, is my team is Aston Villa, who took on Steven Gerrard towards end of last season, and he started off and lost 3 games, and so the fans are angry and so on and so forth. But it does take time to settle down, and he's a good footballer. He's a brilliant footballer in his day. He understands the game. I'm sure that he's going to turn this around. Why don't we get off his back? All those people who know so much better because they sit at home. It's the same as television. Everybody knows about television and what you should do. I get advice 10, 15, 20 times a day from people whose sole experience of television is they watch it. They watch it, so they know exactly how to run a television station and what to do and how to make it work. Amazing. And that's true of football. These people sit either in the bleachers or they sit in the pubs and they watch television and they watch the game on television and then they know exactly how to handle it. Get off his back. Mind you, the press aren't making it any easier because he is such a well-known footballer. People are willing him to actually fail. Well, I'm winning him to win. Save Steven Gerrard campaign started on this little television station, radio station. Let's give him every opportunity, at least half a season, before we start bellyaching. He's got it wrong. He's got a lot of good talent. And I've often said, it's almost a new team this year. And I've often said, a team is a team. A good team that is playing together will beat a team full of stars. Well, what he's got, okay, to some extent of his own making, is he's got a team of stars. Now he's building them into a team, and it will come. Give him time. He's got the material. Get off his back. Wow, we are all so self-righteous. So self-righteous as a people. We can't wait to tell everybody else how badly they've done. And the reason that we do it is because we are non-entities ourselves. We've never achieved anything great. We've never aspired to great moments of glory. But for those who do aspire and who do actually reach it is, oh dear, they are the most dreadful people on the face of the earth. Get off everybody's back unless you can qualify to criticize. And to do that, you've got to reach the same dizzy heights as the people you're having a go at. Not from some pub or gang. Stop it. It's nonsense, it's demeaning, and it lets us know the sort of people that you are, which is not very pleasant. Thank you very much. It's 10 minutes past 8. We've got 5 minutes left. And just to go, one of the most disturbing things, I think, this morning is that the brewery chiefs are saying that the cost of living crisis, or at least actually the energy crisis more than that, is putting thousands and thousands of pubs at risk. They've only just started to come out from COVID. But in my view, the big mistake that the brewery industry is making is it's going for a bucks instead of long-term establishment of loyalty. They don't behave like pubs anymore. They behave like mini restaurants. Going in and standing at the bar is discouraged by a good many pubs. In fact, some pubs open up their doors and they don't even let people stand at the bar. You go in to eat or not. Well, that's a restaurant. That's not a pub. Join the restaurant community. But don't pretend to be a pub. And don't actually get mixed up in pub affairs. Pubs are community centres. They're a place where people go to swap stories, reasonable stories about the government and things of the day. They go to play dominoes and have pub quizzes and to go on little outings to other pubs or to some place of interest as a group. That's what a pub is about. It's a social community. Based on booze? Yes, but why not? What's wrong with booze? It's only excess. It's the same as anything. Excess of anything is bad. Average drinking is fine. So whatever we do, don't let's lose our pubs. But also, let's get the pub back to being a pub. The two pubs in this town that behave like a pub are successful. The others are struggling. Why? Because they have gone into the restaurant business. But they're still publicans. They don't really understand the restaurant business. They understand pub food. They understand food in a pub. But they are not restaurateurs. And they shouldn't pretend to be that and try to do that. Get back to being a pub. Get back to having a blazing fire with a golden retriever lying in front of it and a publican in tweeds, giving them the time of day and sharing with them the philosophy of life. That's what we need. And a pint priced at a decent level. And that's where, with all the talk of cutting this and cutting that, that's where some cuts can be made. A pint of beer is mostly taxed, very little to the people that make it. But then, our government, our people who are in charge is mouth, mouth, mouth. They know the problems that we're having. Oh my goodness me, do they know the problems that we're having? And they do things and they're totally irrelevant and they don't help one little bit. Give me strength. Give me strength. Well, that strength is fading now because it's 13 minutes past 8 and we disappear at 15 minutes past. So let's go to a nice little number which we're using at the moment to fade away at 8:14 on the 30th of August in the year 2022, with the temperature going to reach 24, a moderate breeze and sunny spells. This is Keith Hayes, Rouser Radio, out of the White Hart in Lewis, and for the moment, toodle pip.
Told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a buildup of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a dick.